Well, good morning. Welcome back to the second hour of Love Babs Love Talk. I'm delighted. I got my divine nine sister and brother on the show today. Welcome to my playground. Hello, President Katrina Rice, New Haven Alumni Association of Delta Sigma Theta, and Rule Dixon. Rule, what do we say? Do we say President of Omega Psi Phi chapter?
Um, well, it's bossless, but president may be a little bit easier. It's more
Bossless. I
palatable.
know how to say bossless. I wasn't quite sure what the hierarchy, how it went down. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you for
So,
having us.
13 years of free market, 13 years, and y'all are in the moment right now of uh, um, taking donations, sorting stuff, and getting ready for June 14th, I believe.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so
Yes.
Correct.
tell me about this. Now, were the Omegas always a part of free market? I'm refreshing my memory. Okay, all right.
Yes. So I know my fraternity brother, Agent Weber, and his wife, Karima Mickens Weber. They just had this idea brewing, and Karima actually was talking about this the other day. She always had the idea in her head, and here we are, 13 years later. It's actually come to fruition. I remember in the beginning phases, because right where it is right now, we initially were doing it across the street at the Elks in that
Yes,
parking lot right
yes.
there. That's where it actually was. And as a younger fraternity brother, we're out there, and it's just a lot of fun and camaraderie as we're collecting items. We play some music, we have some food, and we just collect
I know
and
y'all run a
and
whole
sort and
grill
clothes.
situation out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
because
might come from
we're
that.
out there for hours, collecting clothes and stuff. So we just have to make it fun, and it's a good time for us to collaborate, network. A lot of the members on both sides get to know each other. Jobs, careers, and all that. You just like break some barriers. As we get ready for the event.
I love it. And President Katrina, what do you say about this free market stuff? 13 years, it's been an amazing run, and I feel like it grows more and more each year.
Yeah, it's just so exciting. I haven't, as you know, I like to say a young Delta, not, and I remember my first free market, which is, brother Raul is mentioning, was at the Elks. So that was my first free market after crossing in spring 18 in New Haven Alumni chapter. And so it was so exciting to be a part. You cross and you see this big event and community event. To fast forward, I remember sitting on this show last year in a different seat. Now, with our immediate past president, Paula Irving, I was the first vice and I was the chairperson of Free Market. So had the pleasure out of the 13 years now, I actually did Free Market 3 of those years, because the first year I was in first vice president, we had COVID. So I can tell you this is one of our biggest events. Is near and dear to so many of our hearts, in particular my heart, and just overjoyed now to be in the role of the president and to be a part of the planning. And as Raul mentioned, it's so much fun. We're out there collecting and we're talking, and the community is coming out just doing the collection. So the day of the event is even better. So yeah, I like to think about that. We like to party, and we know D9 loves to party. But if I take that P and put it with programming, we also love to do the programming. And this is the best part of everything, is this is true community engagement and programming. So quite
And so
exciting.
I watched over the years how it kind of sort of lent itself toward women kind of clothing, jewelry, shoes. But in the last few years, there's been a real push to put men things out, suits, jackets, shoes, that kind of stuff. Can you talk a little bit about what was the impetus for that?
Yeah, I'll give my perspective and then let Raul give his. Is, to think about women, we know we just have a lot of clothes and we shop and we buy a lot of stuff. And this is an opportunity for us. And these are beautiful items that we are donating, that we just, in general, women have just more stuff. And so, and they always want to buy new stuff. And Babs, you know that we like to buy new
Girl.
stuff. And so then we want to donate, but we really have over the years started to really pay attention, take the feedback from our evaluations that we ask about what is the need and what is the community. And it was really driven by years of feedback that we need to collect and have more men's items, more children's items. So we've been making an emphasis on making sure that we can collect more of those items and managing, how much of the women, which we have beautiful items, but how do we actually supplement and have more of the men items who, we want to make sure that they're well taken care of as well. So Raul, I don't know if you have any difference of opinion on that.
Yeah, no difference of opinion. As you're right, women tend to have a lot more than clothing items than men do, and so you guys have a lot more to give up to put out there. But now that you mentioned it, Baz, I'm like, yeah, it really has been. But since the beginning, it's always items, regardless if it was men or women, it was always there. But you're right, there has been an increase now in men. But I never really pay attention until you just mentioned it.
And what I also want people to know is not just, you could shop, yes, shop, 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 but you have a whole health fair wrapped around this thing, so that if you're there shopping, you get your blood pressure checked, you get your diabetes numbers checked, I got a HIV test a few years back because there was this whole campaign of know your numbers, and I knew my numbers, but I wanted people to see me take the test publicly and get the results publicly so that you could erase some of the stigmas. So talk about the health fair that's wrapped around this free market.
Yeah, so we have this year we have 15 organizations
Wow.
that are health driven organizations, but we also sprinkle in a few organizations because we didn't turn anyone back. If you want to be in the community with us, we want you to be there. So we have some organizations that are hiring initiatives, helping people secure jobs, because we know that is a need in our community to make sure that we have our communities are employed. So not only do we have some great health providers that are out, we have some new ones this year that actually reached out to us. We also have some organizations around hiring initiatives to help our communities get employed. So we're excited about that. We're kind of mixing the health, but we also have this segment that we want to bring out that actually can help us with, job agencies, how to get placements for jobs and things like that, because that's what the community needs as well. So,
and the population that we tend to reach and touch with our initiative, tend to not be the ones that's always going to the doctors and getting checkups and all that type of stuff. So that healthcare component was very pivotal, and it was great because we're like, okay, you're here to get some clothes, you're here to get some toiletry thing. There's going to be food. Hey, pop over here and get this blood check real quick. Hey, pop over here and do these things for free, right? So we wanted to make sure that we're giving a robust program, know the population that we're targeting and know the population that are showing up for our event year after year.
Mm-hmm. And do y'all keep count of how many people show up? Like, is there some kind of official, unofficial counting of people?
Yeah, it is official because everyone that comes in, we register them. And so we have their information or whatever they share, but we do have the numbers, so how many people show up so that we can follow them, as well as we use that data to look at, because then they complete evaluations, and we have raffles, beautiful raffles again this year. We're going to have raffles. If you visit our health fair, we're going to surprise and you'll be able to get raffles for that. But then we have some beautiful donated gift baskets for people who complete our evaluation. So we're using that data because 13 years, you don't stay. Things have to pivot and change. And the way we do that to make sure we're reaching our communities is not all about what we think. We had a vision, we thought about this, but we need to continue to evolve and transform that vision based on what our participants are telling us. And so we collect all that data so that we have those numbers. And Babz, as you're fully aware, we have to, for sorority, and I'm sure Raul can attest, because this is a large program for us, we have to submit those numbers up through our national, how many community members we are touching. So over the years, the numbers have grown. Of course, during COVID, once we took the little COVID dip, our first year back, we were growing back those numbers, but we're seeing that those numbers are growing back, and we're still making a large impact. And I think that's what our ultimate goal is.
I love that. Okay, so all right. So did you add anything new this year, or do you think about adding things new every year? Like, does the formula change? Do you tweak? Do you say, well, last year this didn't do so well, but next year we're gonna try this thing? Do you have those kinds of conversations? Do you think about those kinds of things? Like, what's the formula? How do you add stuff? How do you change things? And how do you grow?
Yeah. Well, so a lot of that sometimes is impacted by the evaluations, right? Because we do the evaluation and we listen to the community and we make some changes, but some of the core things are just the core things, right? That are just there that hasn't changed over the course of the years. But I remember when we started, there was a point that we just had a straight English flyer, but now it's English and Spanish. You know what I mean? Based on those feedback that we got and seeing the population. So I think the core things have stayed the same, but if and when we do make changes, it's based on the evaluation and what we get on the data that we get from the community.
So just to piggyback on that, in addition to the flyers, we have translators on site. So we have students. So we've reached out to the New Haven Public School who are going to have students. And that came from feedback from the survey. So when we start each year, we take the survey from the previous year and we go through it as a group. And say, okay, these are the things we heard as Raul has mentioned, and so these are the things we're going to implement. We heard some things around access to hand washing and portable bathrooms, so we're accommodating this year. So yeah, we're continuously trying to look at. Because why take what kills me is why get feedback if you're not going to use it. If you ask people evaluation, you need to actually things that you can do with it within the confounds, not to use scope. But we're definitely looking at that year over year. So we have all that data so that we can continue to refine as we move and go forward into future years. And if the community is saying that they want this, we want to make sure that we are going to do everything we can to deliver to the community, because that's who we're serving, not us. We're serving the community.
So
Their
so
word has to say.
so in the moment right now, you all are still accepting donations, sorting donations up until the 7th, I believe.
Yeah, Saturday is the
Yeah.
last date. So
They,
bring
mhm.
your items out.
And y'all are out there how many times during the week collecting stuff? Because it seems like it's like just about every daggone day. How many?
So they have 3 days. There are 2 days during the week, and then on Saturdays.
Mhm.
And then we use the off days as the organizations that we're cleaning up, we're preparing the items, we're sorting, because we want the day to be very smooth. So we're preparing on the days that we're not donating. Our committees are preparing to be ready for the event, making sure things are organized. So the day of the event, and I like to enroll. I don't know if you agree, but I always like that free market is not for the week. I mean, that morning we are out there at 5:45, and we are moving from the time we pull up. And so we
Mhm.
want to make sure for our volunteers and our organizations, we can make that as smooth for them. Because we want them to enjoy the day as well. So Saturday is the last full collection day for all items, and then next week we're in full planning mode to be ready for a smooth execution on the 14th.
And when you say free market, every single thing is free. Is the food free
Everything,
too?
even the
Yes,
food, everything is free.
Really?
everything is free.
All right. So who's doing the cooking this year? Like, I know the brothers run the grills. Are y'all running
Yeah,
grills this year?
yeah. The bros will be on the grill. The bros
Yeah.
will be on the grill.
Are we talking hot dogs, hamburgers? What else? Chicken? Got some
Hot dogs,
steaks? What?
hamburgers. We'll have some healthy items there too, but mainly hot dog, hamburgers. Will be on the grill.
Yeah.
Okay. And lots of water, I'm sure.
Lots of water. Yeah.
Lots
Because
of
I,
work.
I, I remember there was like water state, like people could just get water. Because,
Yeah.
Hmm.
this is in June. So, you run the risk of just like hot weather. And so
Yeah.
you want people to stay hydrated. All right. So what
Absolutely.
else goes on? Is there a DJ? Is there line dancing? What is happening?
That
So,
and more.
mhm,
So the radio will actually be out there. We have a DJ, so they're playing music. People are dancing. It's just such a fun day to be out there in the midst of the community and loving on our community and having fun with the bros and the sorors. We're just having a amazing time, and we're helping our community. We're making sure that they get items, and they love it. So it's just so much fun that even though it's a lot of work, it is so much fun that entire day. I definitely look forward to being out there in the midst of everything. But yeah, we're gonna have a DJ. So yeah, you'll probably hear some boots on the ground.
mhm.
It'll be popping off.
So when do y'all start planning this? Like when does the planning start like January 5th, I mean June 15th? Like when do you start planning for next year?
I think we start somewhere around January, February. Then we
Yeah.
start our preliminary meetings around March, where it's like every 2 weeks, right? And then as we come to April, May, then the meetings start becoming like every week, right? And then the meetings start aligning with collection too. Um, so in the past we had to start a lot longer, but now you have a template. You don't have to start
Right.
that much longer, right? So
Like we know what we're doing now.
we know what we're doing now.
Now we
We have a
doing
nice
it.
system here. So
Right.
yeah. So we typically start having our meetings in January, February on Zoom and bi-weekly, and then in April we go up to weekly.
I
So tell
think we're
me,
well
go
oiled.
ahead.
I think we're well oiled at this
Hmm.
point, Raul, and how things have just been flowing so nicely. We have a very comprehensive, we call task sheet that outlines. We had a
Hmm.
large number of committed participants from the Soros and the Bros. I think it's maybe over 20 of us that
Yeah.
are involved in the planning. Everyone gets assigned stuff. We have a whole collection team that is responsible for organizing the connections. So we pretty much have I think well oiled. So yeah, we could scale back. We didn't have to start right at January, but I would be remiss before I move off this. I want to definitely shout out our co-chairs, so Felicia McFields and brother Alex Jones.
Alexander
I
Jones.
know
Yep.
I call him Alex. Everybody calls him AJ, but I call him Alex. I call him his government name. They have been there. Those are our co-chairs, and they're doing an amazing job to guide the committee through this. So I want to give them a shout out for their hard work.
Yeah.
I love the fact that this is such a collaborative effort between the Deltas and the men of Omega. It's a wonderful collaborative effort that it seems to be such a staple to the community. Like the community actually looks forward to this time in June, every June, and you
Yeah.
keep it in June every June
Yeah.
around the same time, so
Hmm.
people sort of look forward to it. What does it mean for you both to be a part of something that is so almost beloved to the community?
Um, I think for me it's a great thing for what I mean it to being a part of this, especially seeing 13 years going on strong right now and seeing the impact that we're having in the community and the need that we're providing for. I think it's a great thing. Um, but I think for me also on the back end, the planning and the collaboration that we have is so pivotal to our Coleman love that we have as organizations, and even going back, stretching back to our founders. You know what I mean? So like, there's different components of it that means a lot to me personally. That, as I said earlier, like building that camaraderie, time to just get to network and build with the sorors, and then it culminate into this day that we're here impacting our community in a massive levels, and we understand what it means to the community, right? I've seen a lot of people that are recurring shoppers at the free market, and they say, "Hey, brother, what's up?" And
Yeah.
and I've seen them last year and years
Right.
prior to that. And to know that you're impacting their lives, to know that in June they could count on us for clothes, they could count on us for toiletry items, they could count on us for even that day just to be fed. I think for me and and our organization and the Deltas too, it means a lot.
Yeah. I would absolutely concur with everything that has been said. It is The feeling to even get ready and plan it and be out there, it's just overwhelming to actually see the impact. Because everything that we do, we want to make sure that it's having an impact. So to know that this is something that we do, that the community needs, and they look forward to it, and it has an impact because we are helping others. Our responsibility is to help others. All the fun, I like to think about all the fun that goes along with it, that we have along the way, the end result to know that people are leaving there with things that they need, things that are helping their family, that we're empowering them, that they are getting services they may not be able to get is heartwarming to me. And I always, just the last couple of years, I have to tell you, once I get in my car and drive home, it's like this emotional feel that comes over me to say, hey, you actually were a part of something that made a difference in all that we're doing as me personally and as a fraternity and sorority coming together. I mean, that's the best part of, to me, doing all that we do. And again, just you asked me personally, I like all the party, I like all the letters, and I say that having the opportunity to say I'm a part of a wonderful organization. But what means the most to me is to make sure that I can give and give back to someone else, because I have been so blessed and fortunate. How can I help others? So that's more moving to me than anything.
All right, so how do y'all? My first question is: has there been interest across D9 to do this in other places? Have other D9 folks contact you and say, "Hey, we might consider doing this in wherever we are." Have you heard any interest about doing this across other places?
I haven't. I don't know if you have heard that, Katrina.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
interesting, Babs, that you mentioned that. Is because my sister-in-law is a Delta and she's in Huntsville alumni, and she came to a session or something, and she invited some others, a remote session we had, and we were publicizing last year free market. We had a virtual session, and we were talking about the free market. And last year when I was in this role, I had someone from another Alabama chapter who reached out and said, hey, this may be something good in our community they can do. So I haven't, even though they were Deltas, they heard about this is what we were doing here. And they were looking at seeing, is that something they can do in their communities, which naturally they can. So just, how we're doing these things, and think about as D9 when we have sessions and we're publicizing what we're doing, how that actually can go outside of our Connecticut, go outside our areas where other chapters and other locations. So that was pretty interesting that I did have was reached out to when I was in the first vice about them starting that program. So I have to follow up and see that they get it off, but they were really intrigued on, wow, this is something we can do. And they were in a smaller area in, that Alabama area. But just to know that what we were doing was making a difference, I thought it was quite interesting. So the more we use social media, we use forums like this, I think we can get the word out that other communities should be considering or could do this.
I like the motto of it. Like I love the idea of it, and I know that they're boss Greeks all over the place. So collaborative efforts could be done, and maybe it could be other D9 members, coming together, or maybe it's a bigger D9 collaborative effort that could do it in other places. So I'm always thinking about like how we raise our visibility and who else could benefit from the good deeds that we are charged with
Absolutely.
showing up for. So anyway, so how do y'all debrief? What happens after? What happens the day after? When do y'all come back together and talk again about the free market and the whole experience?
Well, I can tell you for me, the day after, I can't talk to anyone because my body is
Okay.
hurting. I am laying down. I can't, I need to mentally decompress. So the day after, it is no conversation for
Yeah.
me because I am trying to catch up on this long day of work that when you get a certain age, you just don't move like you used to, right?
Hmm.
It need a
Yeah.
little soaking. But we do have follow-up meetings. We'll still have a planning meeting and we debrief as a group. We will take all the feedback. So everyone who's been a part, They give their feedback. What'd you think? What worked well? What didn't work well? We have that information. So when we're also, and then by that time, we hope we have some of the survey because we have the survey kind of entered on site and we can start to go through that. But typically, it's the following week, we'll have another meeting and we debrief. And that all that information is the feeder for our start of the next year. So it's the evaluations as well as the committee feedback because we all have great feedback. And Babs, we all got something to say, so let's hear it, right? So that's how. So yeah, but we definitely come back together as a unit and give our assessment of how we think the day went.
Okay. All right. So at the end of the day, what happens with stuff that's not carted off, carried away, taken by community and folks? What happens to all the things that are left behind?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what I mean, as we talk about, it's a system, right? So, we normally end around like 1. So anywhere between like 11, 11:30, 12, we kind of do an assessment and we see what's left in the pods. And then we start collecting those stuff because we know if we put those stuff out, it's probably not going to go. And then we may end up taking it to like the Goodwill, or we may take it to like homeless shelters in the community and donate it there. But most of the time, we take it to the Goodwill, and then they end up doing what they would need to do with it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like, what time does it start? June 14th.
9 o'clock,
And what
Nine
time does
o'clock.
it end?
1 o'clock,
1 o'clock.
So
9 to 1.
that's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
And
is.
people get there right at probably before y'all get there.
Yeah, around like 8:40 or so, you start see people
Line it up.
lining up and they're ready to go because the people who are veterans to it, they know they want to get the first pick of the litter.
Yeah.
So they're there at 8:40 and they're ready to go. So as soon as we open the doors at 9, they're in and they're ready to just interact with all the items and take them and just be the first pick. And for us, we've been there for 4 or 5 hours prior to that, setting up and everything. So we're just all right, come on in, let's get this day going.
Yeah. We're excited to kick it off.
That sounds good. And so 1 o'clock is a good ending time. Like you feel like this is a whole day. This is enough.
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
Yeah. 1 o'clock is good ending.
Okay. All right.
It is.
I love that. I love that. All right. So I guess I would say that you're still taking donations. Can people just walk up and bring donations now until Saturday, I think, the 7th?
Yep, tomorrow is it. So at 12 o'clock, come to the Q House, drop your items off. We'll have our teams out there to meet you. We're expecting tomorrow to probably be a busy day because it is the last collections. And then, then next week I like to say we're behind the scenes and we're closed door and we're getting ready for the great event. So, so anyone who still has items, bring them out tomorrow, 12 o'clock to 1:30. You'll have a full crew out there ready to greet you and get your items.
Okay. And lastly, do you have volunteers too? Is there a need for volunteers? Are you calling for volunteers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always need volunteers. We'll be putting some stuff out in our social media, so you can look for that. But if you just want to volunteer that day up, you can reach out, email either one of our information. We'll also have some stuff on our social media. And the thing for our volunteers, we treat our volunteers well. They have an area for them. They come in, they get water, they get little snacks, they have a resting area, they get badges. So Babs, you know how we do. We take care. So our volunteers, if you want to volunteer, you're going to be treated well. And we'll make sure that you're hydrated through the day, and we make the shifts no more than about 2 hours so that it's hot in June so that people are not exhausted in it. So anyone who wants to volunteer, definitely you can sign up or you can just show up, and the volunteer station is in the back closer to our pods.
Yeah, I love it. So you've got a health fair, you've got free market, you have food, you've got volunteers, you've got a DJ. What else is there? Am I missing anything? Is there some other thing that needs to happen?
They're
What
going to
about
be
the
raffles.
children? Is there things for children to do?
It's going to be raffles. So we have some great raffles as well.
Raffles.
We
Okay.
got a photographer. We got videos that are going to happen. So evaluations, interviews. We normally have some little hula hoops and things out for the kids. So as they're waiting, so it's really and roll. I don't know if you agree. I think it's like a fun day
Day,
overall.
yes,
Come
sir.
out and spend the day with us.
Yeah.
Go shopping and get you a line dance in.
Hmm.
Get you some good food and refreshments. And we have tables where if you need to sit and relax. So it's a fun day for the community, and you get a chance to do a lot.
Wow. I am grateful that y'all made time to come on this week. I know you're busy and a lot is still happening and a lot of moving parts. So thank you for taking your time out to come and hang out on my station. And I'm looking forward to hearing after the fact. I don't come to free market because I am the worst person. I come and then I be bringing all that stuff to my house. And so I have learned over the years I cannot go. I don't have the resolve to say no. I'll see stuff and I'm like, oh, I want that. I want that. And girl, I just moved. I don't need to bring nothing up in here right now. But I love the idea of free market. I hear from the community all the time about free market. We run the giant ad for the sorority in the inner city newspaper so that people are aware of it. So yeah. So I'm looking forward for y'all having a great, great, great Saturday.
Well, thank you so
Yes.
much for having us today.
Yeah.
As usual, we're excited and thank you for giving us this moment.
Yeah, so come on
Yeah.
back whenever you want. Talk about anything you want. If you got other programming or other collaborative things, come on back. You're welcome.
Babs, I will definitely be back, me and Raul, because we have some other stuff, but we'll save that to another time.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
Yes.
y'all.
And
All right. Thank
thank you
you.
everyone. And just
Thank you, everyone.
remember, it will be on June 14th, 9 to 1 at the Q House. It's our free market
Yay.
event to come out and enjoy your day with us.
Yes.
Yes. Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much. Good
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
people.
much. Have a good
All
one.
right.
Bye bye.
I will see y'all out in these Divine Nine streets.
Yes,
Absolutely.
ma'am.
Thank y'all.
All
Thank
right.
you, Harry. We're on our way out. Y'all have a good week. I am not here next week. Harry will put the best of. I'll be back the following week and more stuff to talk about. So take good care. Enjoy your week. And we're off to Springfield. I'll be back.
Just keep trying.